few weeks ago, I made one of these stupidest decisions of my life. I booked a flight to Nepal to climb to Everest Base Camp with zero mountaineering experience and only 3 weeks to train. On day 6 at 15,000 feet elevation, my body started to shut down and I thought this was it. But what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about my own limits. But before we get into the trek, let me tell you how I ended up making one of the craziest decisions of my life. I spent years building my business, which is a fully remote local cleaning business called Made This. It's to the point now where it basically runs itself. I'm able to manage it from anywhere in the world. And because of that, I've been bouncing around across 60 countries over the last 7 years. I basically achieved the location and financial freedom I've always dreamed about. Now, during my travels, I've done a lot of risky things. But here's the thing. I've never really pushed my body to its absolute breaking point. So I booked one of the most infamous treks on the planet, which is 3 weeks to prepare. Yeah, 3 weeks. Most people train months, sometimes years for Everest Base Camp. And honestly, the thing I was most terrified about was leaving my business for 2 weeks with zero way to communicate with the team. What happens if everything falls apart when I'm stuck on some mountain and I have no cell service? But my plane tickets were bought, the money was gone, and there was no backing out now. Now here's a reality check. My fitness level was pretty average. It wasn't bad. What I did leading up to Everest though was take everything to a manic level. Every single morning started with boxing sessions until I could barely stand. Then I'd hit hiking trails around Beverly Hills, which looking back was kind of like training for the ocean by splashing in a kiddie pool. I spent hours running up and down stairs until my legs turned into jelly, desperately trying to build some kind of endurance that I need to survive at 17,000 feet up. But nothing, and I mean nothing, could prepare me for what I'd face up there. 9,383 feet elevation. The first challenge was actually just flying into Lukla, which is ranked as one of the most dangerous airports in the world. Why? Because it's literally a 500-meter runway carved into the side of a mountain. But we made it. When I stepped off that plane and I saw those mountains for the first time, it hit different. Like, holy shit, this is actually happening. I'm really about to do this. We met our guy named Govinda, who was an absolute badass and has probably done this trek 1,000 times. He takes one look at me and I could tell he's thinking, yeah, this American guy is not going to make it past day 2. But honestly, day 1 felt kind of like a joke. We had an easy 4-hour trek through beautiful terrain. The weather was perfect. I'm feeling good and I'm thinking, this is it. This is what everyone's worried about. I felt like I was kind of on a casual hiking trip, not attempting one of the most challenging treks in the world. The guide was probably laughing at me internally, but he was too polite to actually say anything. That's because I had no idea what was coming in day 2. 11,290 feet elevation. Shit got real. 7 hours of brutal hiking and I am dying. Every step uphill with this pack on my back, air is getting thinner and it's getting harder and harder. I quickly realized that trudging uphill with a pack in thin air is kind of insane. Every step felt like I was carrying twice my body weight. I'm stopping every 10 minutes just to catch my breath. My legs are on fire and I'm thinking, okay, this is more like what I expected. This is actually hard. Then the most embarrassing thing happened. A group of 5-year-olds in flip-flops and Power Ranger backpacks just casually blow past me on their way to school. They're not even breathing hard. They're just chatting and laughing like they're walking to the corner store. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just unprepared physically. I was unprepared mentally for how hard this was going to be. And that was going to be the hardest part of this entire trek, was the mental struggle. But despite all the struggles, I couldn't help but think how beautiful the trek was. Local small villages, rivers, suspension bridges, and the unfreaking real view that kept it all fun. It truly felt like a different world whenever I wasn't dying. But the rest of day 2 was honestly just a tough reality check. My pack felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. My feet are already getting blisters and I keep thinking, man, if day 2 is this hard, what's going to happen on day 6? 13,000 feet elevation. I wake up in the town of Namche Bazaar, which is one of the last bigger towns in the area. And by bigger, I mean a population of about 5,000. The weather was absolutely brutal, and night times were even colder. The shower at the tea houses were absolutely freezing. I guess I'm not showering this trip. Today we have to get acclimated to the high altitude, so we take a 4-hour hike uphill. As we start our hike, every breath feels like I'm only getting half the air I need. My lungs are working overtime just to keep up. Luckily, I'm rewarded with a viewpoint and a glimpse of the homie Everest peeking out beyond the mountain range. 12,687 feet elevation. Nature decides the trek is too easy, so it starts pouring all day. All day, I'm completely soaked, freezing cold, and questioning if this trip was a mistake. And in the back of my mind, I keep thinking about my business back home. What if everything falls apart while I'm stuck on this mountain? The trail turned into a muddy mess. It's 8 hours uphill and downhill. I'm slipping every few steps, my boots are caked with mud, and I am freezing. The guide keeps asking if I'm okay, and honestly, I'm not sure I am. But I keep pushing because what else am I going to do? Quit on day 4? But the craziest thing was that our porter, this guy who's carrying all of our heavy stuff, is just cruising past me wearing freaking Hello Kitty Crocs. Hello Kitty Crocs. He's got our entire luggage balanced on his forehead like it weighs absolutely nothing. I tried carrying my own pack for like 10 minutes just to see what it felt like. I could barely make it 50 feet. And this guy's doing it for hours up and down the mountain in Crocs in the rain, and he's not even breathing hard. Absolute beast. By the end of day 4, we reached the highest monastery in the world at Tengboche. I was completely wrecked by this point, soaking wet, exhausted, starting to realize that maybe everyone else was right. Maybe I was completely insane for thinking I could do this in such a short time. The deeper you go, the worse the accommodations become. It's harder to get materials to these remote towns, and it's all porter-based, meaning no cars. So you get very interesting accommodations and kind of fill yourself toilet contraptions the further in you go.
Do it in here. It's leaky.
So night, I'm lying in my sleeping bag, still damp, I'm shivering, and I'm thinking that, damn, this is only day 4. I still have 5 more days of this. That night, lying there freezing and miserable, I start to have some serious doubts. I'm starting to understand why people train for this for months. 3 weeks was absolutely nothing, but I had no idea in a couple of days I'd be begging to feel this good again. 14,468 feet elevation. On day 5, the weather is having some serious mood swings. It's sunny 1 minute, then windy, then snowing, then sunny again. I'm constantly putting layers on and off and taking them off. But I was starting to feel a little bit more confident. My body was adapting, or at least that's what I thought. The uphills weren't killing me quite as much. These 6 hours didn't really feel that bad. Maybe I could actually pull this thing off. 15,100 feet elevation. I wake up and stumble outside to use a bathroom, still groggy and freezing my butt off, and see this absolutely incredible view in the morning. Mountains as far as you could see, crystal clear morning, the most breathtaking, unique environment. For a moment, I forgot I still have 3 more days to go. Today's what's called acclimatization day, meaning we hike super high, try to get our bodies ready and used to the thin air. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident. I bring about a liter of water with me on this trek and thinking it should be a lot easier now that I'm getting the hang of it. And honestly, this was one of my favorite days. The view at the top of the mountain was unreal. Amadablin is the name of the mountain you see in the background and is arguably the most beautiful mountain on my trek, in my opinion. As I get back down the mountain and I'm sitting at a tea house, out of nowhere, my head starts throbbing like someone's literally hitting it with a hammer. I could barely focus on anything. Altitude has finally hit me, and it's hit me like a truck. I was only drinking about 2 liters of water a day when I probably needed 4 to 5. My body was shutting down and I had no idea how serious this actually was. I'm dizzy, I'm nauseous, my head feels like it's gonna explode. The guy's asking me if I want to go back down, and for the first time since starting this entire thing, I'm actually considering it. For the first time, I genuinely thought, shoot, I might not make it. Not because I wasn't tough enough, but because my body was literally failing me. 16,210 feet elevation. I spent the entire night chugging water and liquid IV like my life depended on it, because it kind of did. Slowly, very slowly, I started feeling human again. The pounding headache turned into a dull ache. I could focus on conversations, I wasn't throwing up, I could actually appreciate the incredible scenery around me. The mountains looked completely different now. Less like these massive enemies trying to kill me, more like teachers trying to show me what I was actually made of. At this stage, the changing weather felt more like a feature of the journey, not a bug. I'm starting to enjoy the trek and whatever is thrown out by nature. 17,598 feet elevation. The finish line is close, baby. We set off through the valley on a 6-hour journey to reach our next destination. This is the final push to get to base camp. The oxygen up here is literally 50% of what you get at sea level. Every single breath feels like a small victory. I stop every few minutes, but something has changed inside of me. I wasn't just surviving this anymore and dreading what I was doing. I was actually fighting for it. I wanted to prove to myself that I could actually do something this hard. This wasn't about the mountain anymore. This was about finding out what I was actually capable of. We end the day stopping at a tiny outpost called Gorpshep, which is the final resting point before base camp. 18,519 feet elevation. This is the highest I've ever been in my life, and the highest elevation I will probably ever be. The air is razor thin. Every breath feels like a victory. Every step feels like moving underwater. I dig deep, push one last time, turn the corner, and then I see it. Everest Base Camp. Spread out beneath me, the legendary launch pad where climbers set out to take on the tallest mountain on Earth. I'm currently posted at Everest Base Camp. Made
made it after 9 grueling days of hiking through this. I quit my job in 2015. Never looked back. I was sick of only having 2 weeks of vacation per year, which kind of sucks. I thought I'd only travel for a year. Ended up traveling for 9 years straight across 50 different countries. I funded the whole thing by starting a fully remote cleaning company, believe it or not, called Made This, which is now fully automated. And that's allowed me to do cool stuff like check out Everest. So follow me some more to see more adventures and journeys. And I'll catch you soon.
I'm standing where only a tiny fraction of humanity will ever stand. The view, it doesn't even feel real. Jagged peaks slicing into the sky, prayer flags snapping in the wind, glaciers glowing under the sun. It's raw, it's brutal, it's beautiful. Up here, you realize just how small you really are, and yet how far you can push yourself when you refuse to stop. This moment right now is the reward. I just spent 9 days pushing my body and mind further than I ever thought possible. I'd faced altitude sickness, brutal weather, and physical exhaustion, and I'd made it through it all. The person walking down the mountain was not the same person who started climbing up it 9 days ago. Oh, and my business? It ran perfectly without me the entire time. My local cleaning company made over $50,000 in revenue while I was literally gasping for air at 18,000 feet. But honestly, the money wasn't even the real win here. The real win was proving to myself that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they stop accepting average is good enough. Like, I'm not special. I'm not some incredible athlete. I wasn't in great shape. I'm just a regular guy who decided to stop making excuses and see what was actually possible. Now, if you've ever been telling yourself that you can't do something because you're not ready, or you don't have enough experience, or you're not the right type of person, I want you to remember this story. 3 weeks of training, 9 days of hell, and a completely new understanding of what I'm capable of. The mountain doesn't care about your excuses, and neither should you.